Deep Dive Film School makes no claim of ownership of the film footage used in this episode. The film footage is owned entirely by the copyright holders. Also, we're going to spoil the hell out of this movie, so this is your warning. Welcome to Deep Dive Film School!
Oh, this week we're going to get into that one scene from David Cronenberg's underrated film from 2007, Eastern Promises.
Let's dive in. Everybody, I am Adam Sherlock.
And I'm Adam Pulcher.
And if you like what you see /here, please like and subscribe. You can find us in all the spaces and places that people find good media.
That's what I've heard.
Yep. And yep, you sure can. we have festivals. We're getting ready to start a new one next week. But then we also in between do these these scene analyses. Analysi. Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
I think so.
Come here for all of your grammatical information.
Is grammatical a word?
Actually, grammatical or grammatical, you can just switch back.
Gotcha. Potato.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's call the whole thing off. Fuck. So you mentioned, you said this is the 2007 underrated Cronenberg film. This was in a period of time where not that Cronenberg ever really fell off the map or anything like that, but I think that he was still very much well known for his early horror stuff, whether you're talking about The Fly,
Naked Lunch,
Scanners. I think that, he was sort of known for this one thing, and that this is a period of time in his career where he was trying out some different things.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I think that's totally. I think that having a director like him take his ethos or pathos or whatever to a different genre, that needs to happen. I think more people who kind of get in that niche, I think Guillermo del Toro is a good example of someone who grew up doing horror and, something like Pan's Labyrinth or whatever, and then having him try other things like Pacific Rim or something like that, where
or even Nightmare Alley, I think is is
totally.
a really good example of...
And let them, they're so good at what they do, let them kind of do it in different ways so we can get those nuances in other ways, maybe not something we're expecting. So this really is an excellent movie.
Oh yeah.
It's one I always love revisiting, even though it's pretty brutal. It's just so well made. The characters are really good. I've always been in love with Naomi Watts.
And the plot's really dense. There's a lot happening here. And I think
Russian mob.
Yeah, Russian mob, but we're in London, and there is this mystery that's sort of unfolding as we're getting to know these different characters. And, if you think about this, 2007, when was Return of the King? 2003? 2004, maybe? I think 2004.
I think maybe later than that,
but in most people's minds, that's who Viggo Mortensen is, right?
Sure.
And so this is probably one of the bigger movies that he did after the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, that's true.
And he really, comparing the two, he's unrecognizable here. I mean,
he's definitely a character actor. It's just one of those characters happened to be Aragorn and was amazing through 3 movies. Yeah. So he's always been a great character actor. I think in this same era, I don't like this movie nearly as much as Eastern Promises, but A History of Violence is kind of in the same realm as this one, I would say, if we're going through eras of Cronenberg. But I do like that he's trying different stuff, and like a Haneke, he can create a tense moment, right? And something unsettling.
And I also think, like Haneke...
and just to point out, we are doing the shower fight scene.
Yes. This is the steam room. Yeah, this is the Turkish bathhouse steam room fight scene.
It's pretty much the scene you have to do in this movie.
Well, and I think you mentioned
get full Viggo here,
and you mentioned A History of Violence, which I think is, I agree, it's not as good of a film as Eastern Promises is, but I think it was Cronenberg and Mortensen, again, both of them doing more of this exploration. I think it's funny to think that for a guy who did movies like Videodrome and The Fly, his take on what violence is is so anti-Hollywood. It's antithetical to the
True.
idea that Hollywood has of like
body horror.
Yeah, it's still body horror. It's like, yeah, violence isn't sexy. Like violence is gross and it's demeaning and it dehumanizes you. And I think that, you know, the early scene in this movie where Mortensen's character there's been one of the gangsters has been killed, and his job before disposing of the body is to make it unrecognizable. And so we see him knocking out teeth of this corpse and cutting the fingers off that have the tattoos on it. And it is so gross. And it is so not gratuitous again to be like, yeah, sexy violence, but instead like this is like in Goodfellas where they bury the guy in the woods. It's like, yeah, this isn't cool. Like this is, if you want to be a part of this mafia, like this is what it actually looks like.
Yeah, no, I think of the casino scene where Pesci gets it. Yikes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
So like being able to kind of explore a gangster style movie, you know, with these great characters, especially with such a generational actor like Viggo. Like he's just
totally.
He's never not good. Like he's so intense. You know that because guess what? He's fully fucking naked in this scene.
Yeah.
We see taint and all, full Viggo.
It's true. Full Viggo. He went full Viggo.
Yeah.
Well, and I think part of it also...
But, like, that shows you how wrapped up in the character... He doesn't care that he's walking around naked, right?
Well, and apparently... So he...
Maybe he does.
He did his own research on all the tattoos.
Yeah.
To the point where he still had the makeup on, and they went to a local restaurant. There was a Russian restaurant, and he said the place got dead silent. And he's like, and I had to explain, like, I'm the guy from Lord of the Rings, like, you know, and like basically, and then people were like, oh, okay, because he basically had been talking to these Russian gangsters to make sure all of the tattoo, like,
it was accurate, yeah.
What the tattoo is and where it is on your body
it's a huge
has
part
to
of
do with like who you've killed and what your specialties are and all these things. And this whole idea of the nautical stars is a very specific rite of passage. And that becomes a point of contention in the movie between him as the bodyguard for Vincent Cassell's character, who I love and I was like rewatching it again, and I didn't watch the whole movie again, but I was going, I was like, am I getting this too mixed up with Road to Perdition? And I was like, no, actually, Road to Perdition is very similar to this movie in the sense of like,
see that.
Here is the guy who isn't really a family member, but is way better at the job than the son is of the main gangster.
Yeah, that's
and now there's
true.
jealousy
Very true.
and not to mention all the problems. The whole thing that happens in this bathhouse scene is the fault of Vincent Cassell's character of being too much of a hothead and whacking the wrong guy. Like, that's where these dudes come from.
Yeah.
They're the younger and older brother of the guy who gets killed.
Exactly. You know, we're dealing with gangsters here. There's always a lot of back alley whispers and who's got the upper hand, who's got the upper hand, and how do you react, and power, you know, all that stuff. And Nikolai, Viggo's character here, and Naomi Watts' character, Anna, they kind of have befriended each other at this point in the movie, and he knows her father and all this stuff, and she's looking for him. But for the most part, like, you know, you were talking about the tattoos, and you know, this is visually striking imagery, just not only in just the way it's shot, but also the way that you were kind of talking about how Cronenberg approaches bodies and how we see something get sliced or how someone gets killed, because it's making you cringe right now.
Linoleum knives. Linoleum knives.
Yeah,
which apparently,
is that the curved knife? Okay.
And apparently, and I was like, is this a particular thing? And in an interview, Cronenberg was like, no, he's like, I just came up with that because he's like, it's a very striking looking knife. And he was like, and I also figured, like, if these guys got stopped by the cops and they had them on them, they could be like, oh, we're linoleum cutters. That's what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just like, yeah, but you're not doing yourself enough credit by
it's
being
like Tony Soprano saying he's in waste management.
Exactly. And you're not doing yourself enough credit by being like, that looks disgusting. That being the thing that somebody's come to kill you with.
Yeah.
Is, and then
brutal.
You're naked. You have no cover.
Well, and that's the other beauty of the scene. Obviously, like, he's the only one who's naked in this, and I think they're brothers. The two brothers are the guys. Basically, you have the old man who's kind of bringing him there and setting him up, but thinks he's somebody else, thinks he's Vincent Cassell, right?
Yep.
And so, first off, this is a setup job. Second off, it's the wrong guy.
Yep.
And he survives it somehow. But you know, a bathhouse is a very vulnerable place, right? Like you got nothing but a towel on.
And it's slick, it's all tile, and you're barefoot, and it's all wet, and like, it is, there is not a more vulnerable position that you could be in. And then both of these guys fully clothed with their jackets on. I mean,
it's a Hitchcockian scene.
Yeah, very much so.
But times 1,000 on the violence. It's brutal, you know. And the old man's very sneaky. You know, he has some good. I'll tell you when I get back.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a Russian accent, but you get what I'm saying. But he basically turns on him, and he said he's the one with the stars on his chest. That's how you know.
Which he just got. So he barely got in the scene before.
And so that imagery, though, of what the tattoos mean, like you're saying, like identifiers, the affiliations, where you're from, the stars, the crosses. Mm-hmm. You know, he's got the whole temple in Moscow on his back.
Yeah.
But you know, the scene after this, spoiler, you find out that he's a cop and he's been undercover. So he went to the depths. Like, not only is Viggo that intense as an actor, he would be that intense as an undercover cop
totally
too, right?
Totally, yeah. And like, so, you've been undercover for so long.
Yeah, you don't even know who you are anymore. Like, and you just have basically a free pass to do what you need to do to get this done.
Speaking of the choreography in the fight scene, I think again of it reminded me of something like Old Boy, where it's like the clumsiness of an actual fight, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not sexy. It's not John Woo. It's you throw a big haymaker swing at somebody and you get tired right after it, right? And we have these guys.
You get sliced in the stomach and then kicked in the ribs.
Yeah. You get well, and we see that over and over in this fight sequence. Is they rake their linoleum knife down him and then punch the spot that they just stabbed him in. Over and over and over again, right? And when he gets raked down the middle of his back, I mean, it's all of this, and it is
the other guys, even though they're not naked, are getting fucking brutalized as well.
Oh yeah.
So you know, I mean, I guess we can go through it a little bit, but you know, the broken leg, broken arm, you know, knife in the back of the head. That one. It might have been the worst one.
I think that's
and then the eye.
The eye is definitely the coup de grace at the end, but the knife through the back with both of them again so close that it's intimacy on the level of lovers, right? I mean, they're close enough to kiss while he's killing him with this knife, and I'm thinking of the amazing and brutal knife death. Towards the end of Saving Private Ryan, that's the same way. And again, Spielberg, another guy who, anytime that real violence shows up in his movies, it's not sexy. I'm thinking of something like Munich. It's like, it's the purpose of it being there is to be like, this dehumanizes you.
Yes.
Right. And I give so much credit to Cronenberg as somebody who loves the ick feeling, utilizing it here and
exactly.
Again in something like A History of Violence, like, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why that movie turned a lot of people off, is because it has this vengeance theme and it has this like, these guys are trying to fuck with you, man, you got to do the right thing. But it's like when Viggo does the right thing, it's
not good.
Yeah, it's like the elevator stomp scene in Drive, right? It's like, oh, that's not heroic. That shows the monster that you actually have inside of you.
Yeah, great point. Speaking of revenge movies, we referenced this scene when we talked about revenge in our International Horror Festival, because the end of that movie is a naked, bloody scene as well. This is on a whole nother level, though. So anyways, great scene. If you haven't seen enough of Viggo's penis, you can also watch Captain Fantastic. He shows it in there, too. Full Viggo.
I mean, he's doing okay.
He's fine.
Yeah, I'd walk around. It's a
nice taint.
No kid on.
All right. Well, I think that's the idea.
Takeaway. Nice taint.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah, nice taint. Have you seen Viggo's taint? Rewatch the 2007 underrated movie Eastern Promises.
Yeah. Frame by frame.
Frame by frame. I hope you don't. Well, I'm going to have to when I edit this.
I was going to say, you're going to be
nice
and personal.
I'm going to know all about it. It's going to be Showgirls 2.0.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. We love this scene. We love this movie. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Next week, we are going to begin a new festival. We're going to do a food movie festival. We got tons of great stuff coming up. So please like and subscribe.
Let's start with Chef.
I love Chef.
It's a good movie.
Such a great movie. We got some good ones in store, so please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love you to join us on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks.